right? Michael Saylor understands. I'm waiting for him to complete his $2 billion raise. But MicroStrategy stock has been absolutely on fire because basically MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin play. You could argue maybe even a better Bitcoin play because their rise upwards, their percentage gain from 2020 till now is even greater than Bitcoin. It's actually way more than Bitcoin. It's actually crazy, which is why they're actually coming out with a leverage long ETF of just MicroStrategy that moves at 1.75x, 175%. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. A ETF just to long MicroStrategy. That's nuts. That's nuts. But that might be something I consider. But the reason why they have that is because there's demand for not only MicroStrategy, but also for Bitcoin, right? I mean, just look at this. You got central banks that hold enormous amount of MicroStrategy shares. Norwegian, Swiss, and even Barclays. They're not a central bank, but they're still the UK's largest bank. They hold a lot of MicroStrategy stock. Is it because they love Michael Saylor? No. Because they want to implement a Bitcoin strategy, and probably they're not allowed to hold Bitcoin, right? Because it will look kind of bad upon them, central banks holding Bitcoin. So they're probably like, dodging that image by saying, okay, we'll buy MicroStrategy shares instead. But just think about that. Just think about it. Even central banks around the world are looking to implement a Bitcoin strategy now through MicroStrategy, right? That's crazy if you think about it. And incredibly bullish if you think about it. Incredibly bullish. And of course, they're not the only ones. Even Saylor is saying Bitcoin is the best strategic treasury reserve asset. Yes, that's why we even have presidential candidates that's considering it for the entire country. But others are following the same footsteps, like Mara, who just raised $300 million. Again, that's not chump change. That's $1/3 billion. They raised that like it was nothing and purchased a whole bunch of Bitcoin with it, right? If you're a company, if you're a publicly traded company, first of all, like right now, I don't know why you would not implement a Bitcoin strategy. Whether you believe in Bitcoin or not, you should just implement it because it's going to help your stock. And then second of all, you should just raise money to buy more Bitcoin because it seems to be working. All these raises are oversubscribed, every single company that's doing it. So why would you not do that at this point? I don't know. I don't know. But Mara, obviously, one of the biggest Bitcoin miners out there, they understand the value of holding and acquiring Bitcoin, right? So a lot of big entities, okay, they understand and they're loading up. As for charts, a lot of you guys love charts. I do too, but the reason why is not to say, well, what's going to happen tomorrow or what's going to happen the day afterwards. These charts meant to show you that, yes, we are going to go higher and form a new high, but more importantly, again, we're following previous patterns, okay? Our consolidation right now may be a tad longer than before, maybe just a slight tad over what we have seen before, but then again, we have never broken through a previous high before having that either. That goes to show you how fast we are in this cycle, right? But all previous cycles before, we've seen the same thing. Right before Bitcoin breaks through its previous high, it stalls a little bit and then continues forward. In our case, we didn't stall. We broke through previous high multiple times, including just 2 weeks ago. Seems like some people are treating like what I'm saying like, oh, we've been stuck here for 6 months. No, just like a few weeks ago, we were at 70K And 70K is above our previous high of 2021. So we're definitely ahead of the game. So our consolidation may be a little bit longer than before. But overall, if you're looking at when Bitcoin started moving after the halving event, if you look at the chart, you go back, it was all around the September, October, November timeframe, which is coming up. We're already halfway through August, which is crazy if you think about it. September is right around the corner. Right around the corner, and we have many cows, including the very first rate cut that's coming in the US. That will be big. That will be big. Here's another one. Let me remove my camera here. Here's another one. Yeah, again, looking at the previous halving, you notice this is zoomed in. You notice that after the halving event, we didn't really start moving. That parabolic rise didn't start until like November. So even though we haven't gone up yet, that parabolic rise like before, but look at what happened before the halving, right? Look at that rise. If you look at in 2020, before the halving, was there any rise? No. It was just a big dump. So that's why you could see, even though there are similarities, of course there are differences, but overall what this is saying is buy, buy, buy. We have another indicator here that is indicating this is a great buy opportunity. Got a lot of these, a lot of these. Here's another one. Again, showing the same thing. Roughly around October, November of this year is when that parabolic phase starts. Nothing has changed. Now, if we go to like December and we're still around the same mark, then yeah, then you could argue things have changed this cycle. But no, we're not there yet. So you just have to be strong. You just have to stay focused on the future, like I've been saying for a while. Remember that just a few weeks ago, we were at $70,000. So it wasn't 6 months ago. It wasn't 2 years ago. It was only a few weeks ago. Okay, so do not lose sight of the fact that nothing has changed. Little volatility, but we will recover. We'll move past this once the US government decides to stop dumping, we'll be just fine.